Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 56th and best episode of the Hashcast. And as always, I have a guest way cooler and way more interesting than myself. And today I have the magnificent Sofia Hariz. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Likewise.
It's like I've wanted to have you for a while. And you've been before when this show didn't have a format or like I had no idea what I was doing. So it's been a while. So I'm glad we got to do this again, and now we can make it all about yourself because you're the coolest, and that's what we're gonna talk about. But like, I've known you for a long time, but for people who might not know who you are, Sofia, can you give us a quick introduction on who are you and what it is that you do and what makes you so cool all the time?
God, it's false advertising, building everybody's expectation up, and then it's like, what? But yeah, I'm Sofia Hariz. I guess I use the umbrella of entertainment journalist. Mm-hmm. Although I've mostly worked as a video game journalist and a film critic. That's basically what I've been doing most of for the past 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. I don't know. A long time. Yeah. So I've done that. I also work as a video editor. I've done some photography in the past. I am one of those people who like to do a lot of things at once, I guess, in a variety of different industries and fun things. And I like hosting and stuff like this, podcasts and videos and good times. Yeah.
And I like it because every now and then I see something roll by and like, holy shit, you're in that? That's amazing. But we're going to talk about all that. So a lot of journalism things, but you are in the US now. That's not where you're from, is it?
No. So I was born and raised in Norway. That's where I'm from.
Yeah. And what made you come all the way over here?
I mean, it's always been a dream of mine. Mm-hmm. I've traveled a lot in my life. I've lived different places. I lived in Spain. I took my journalism BA in England, in London. But I always wanted to live in LA. Obviously, I guess it didn't happen more so until after I graduated from college. Yeah. And at that point, like halfway through that, when I first started, I wanted to be a news journalist. Yeah. And I did a couple of things. I did like a live news report on TV, which was the most horrifying thing I've ever done. That was so stressful. Yeah. But after a while, I started realizing I want to do entertainment journalism, right? And what better place than LA, right? It's like the perfect place. And then so I went here to get a film AA, and it's just the perfect place. It's like one of those things, when you just find a place, mm-hmm. and it's like this feels right. And like who knows in 20 years, but right now this just feels. It's just like home. I'm very blessed that I get to be here and, get to just pursue my dreams, I guess. Yeah.
So you studied film. What made you choose that? Because it's super cool, but I always want okay, what is it about that makes you feel like, okay, I'm going to go all in on this and actually study it?
Well, technically, I started as a journalist. So I did my journalism degree first. Okay. That kind of came from... When I was younger, I wanted to be a writer, mm-hmm. and I still do. Yeah. But at the time, I don't know if it wasn't really bad advice, but I went with the advice that was, maybe you won't be J.K. Rowling, so you should have a backup plan. Mm-hmm. And so my backup plan, a lot of writers in Norway, they're journalists. So I thought that's a good, way to go. So I did that. And, whilst I love talking about video games and writing about them, I also love film. That's something I love my entire life. And so I wanted to, I just wanted to study it more. And I thought this would be a good opportunity. It's always nice I wasn't ready to take a master's degree. So I was like, I want to do something where I can learn about, not just critiquing movies based on how I like them or not, but like have some sort of substance. Yeah. So I decided to do that. And I did a very, I guess history. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for here? Focused. Okay, yeah. I'm a writer.
Yeah. I have all the best words.
I know. No, I wanted to take a film class where I could learn about the history. Like I love that nerdy stuff, and I love writing essays and stuff like that. So I decided to do that. It was also a nice way to, live in LA for a few years first and see if it was actually, the place of my dreams. Yeah. And it was. So, yeah, I wanted to do that just to, learn more. I did a lot of script writing classes, a lot of history, and, more like, I guess it's kind of sociology based in a way, which I think is important as a journalist, too. Mm-hmm. Like, I also did video game classes about, like, history of video games, which is very interesting. So I wanted to just understand a bit more, I guess, and that was kind of my pursuit, just learning stuff.
That's really pretty cool. When you learn all this stuff, like this is like completely off rail, but it's because I want to know it. So you have the history of film. You know how everything works. You kind of see through the Matrix kind of feeling that you get when looking at movies now.
I don't know about that, but I do judge movies in a very different way. Yeah. I remember one of my first film reviews. It's the one I still regret to this day. I think every journalist has something where they were like, "What was I thinking?"
Yeah, I think mine was previous episode really.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. Yeah. I think so. I think I gave like Man of Steel like a 7 or 8 out of 10, and I was just like, "Wow, it's incredible!" Yeah. But it was my first press showing. I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was just action and fun, and it was like one of the most read articles that summer. I think people loved it. Yeah. All the fans were like, "Finally, a critic who's not being trashy about it and critiquing it. Yay!" Now in retrospect, I'm like, it wasn't that good. I don't even know.
I think so. Yeah, I can't fall asleep on airplanes, and watching that movie, I fell asleep on an airplane.
It's not that bad, but it's not as good as I imagined it was. No. And so I think, studying it is more like I understand nuances. Mm-hmm. I've tried making them, writing them, editing them, doing all that stuff now. So it's also, respect for, learning history of something. It's kind of like learning history of games, right? Like how far we've come. Mm-hmm. And, with movies and TV, it's easy to forget the crew. It's easy to forget, all the hard work that goes through every single movie, regardless of how good or bad it ends up being. So I think I got more respect for that whenever I don't really write a lot of critiques, but when I talk about them, I catch myself and I got to think there were hundreds of people working on this.
Yeah.
Give him a little credit, We're gonna do that. So
yeah. That's what I loved about the. I'm not sure if you've seen this, the behind the scenes of Game of Thrones, the last documentary. Really enjoyed that, to see the passion and from everybody involved, from the snow guy to the makeup to the extra that
snow guy
every year. Yeah, snow guy was fantastic.
I love the snow guy. He was I love that documentary was about the crew. Because I was kind of worried that it would just be interviews, because we see them all the time. And there's so much hard work that goes into, a lot of, not everything, but a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. That's right. Yeah. But when you have to, do you appreciate the good more and become more lenient of the bad stuff? Or do you really see flaws in it? They should have seen that coming. Or how do you balance that?
Well, I think when I look at movies and stuff, I critique bigger movies harsher because there are so many big movies now that are lazy. Mm-hmm. That's just it. They're just lazy. Yeah. And so I feel less bad about just trash talking them and feeling like this is terrible. You know what I mean? It's not that they're not trying, but it's just money. It's money, and it's just not respecting the people, both the people who work for you and the people who are watching, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. There's some movies I love to hate. I'm going to admit it. There's some movies where I'm just this feels good. Yeah. It feels good to just sit there and just talk bad about it. Yeah. It's not.
Which one is that? Not Batman vs Superman, because that movie's super awesome.
No, honestly, that's not that bad. I think Suicide Squad is probably my favorite movie to hate. Yeah. Just because what happened, it is crazy. Yeah. It is. I also there's certain things that annoy me about movies, and whenever movies have them frequently, I feel less bad. Kind of plot armor, for example. Mm-hmm. This some person runs into a war and they're the only one that survives. The main character is always more powerful than everybody else for no reason. Or a lot of Marvel DC movies are so dark. Yeah. And the color palettes are ugly. Yeah. And it's kind of when I saw Captain America Civil War, I'm like, this is a great movie, but it's ugly. Yeah. It's just brown and gray, and what is this? Why do something? It's superheroes, just
turn the lights
color. On. Yeah. So I think there are certain things I like hating about movies, but it's the thing of how you hate things, there's a difference between me sitting here saying I don't like Suicide Squad, but I still respect the fact that people put time and effort into it. But, I'm not writing a petition to say that you should never make a movie again or you should remake it because I'm sad. It's like, it's not my movie.
No, petitions are the worst nowadays.
I feel like I would be scared. Like, I always think about, writing scripts. Like, I write scripts a lot, but I never do anything with them.
Yeah.
Probably should. Yeah, but but yeah, I mean, it's horrifying, the idea of creative things that people make. Suddenly, like, fans feel entitled. Same thing happened to Game of Thrones. Like, I was never a big fan. I came into it, I watched the 2 first seasons, and I just recapped everything and watched the last season. Yeah. So I had a very nice outside perspective, but I was like, okay, I get what happened. I get why people were angry because it was so rushed. Yeah. But, like, it's not yours, though. It's not, you don't own it. Why are you angry? Like, you can't decide this. Let them have their vision. And, if you don't like it, then watch Lord of the Rings because it's better. Yeah, hey.
And on the opposite, is there a movie that you appreciate more than you would have if you had not had that insight?
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one. I think just a lot of, good dialogue. I mean, that's also when you get older, you start to realize, I guess, how people talk. Yeah. There are just certain things that you kind of, pick up as you get older that you realize, okay, I like this when I was younger, but nobody talks like this. Yeah. Also, I think a lot of costumes and like makeup and set design. I think set design and also just continuity of like just the fact that, we joke about Starbucks cup and all that stuff, but like those people have such a hard job when there's a lot of props being moved around and you got to script supervise and do all these small things to make sure every take, and there could be, you could be working with David Fincher where it's like 30 takes and you have to make everything look the same every time. Like those kinds of things now, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of hard work. And we don't give him, enough credit for constantly having to know that that coffee cup has to be exactly there. She has to be there. This like, it's like just insane to me to think about all those massive scenes in like bars and stuff. People walk around and do stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so much stuff. Poor editors if they see something, Yeah,
that is. So that must be pretty real. But that's interesting, like because, like I always feel like the more you know, the harder it becomes to enjoy something unless you enjoy it on another level. Like I was watching a movie with my wife, and I was like, oh. This is the scene, and then now this is gonna happen. Then it's gonna apologize. Then he's gonna chase. We were watching Always Be My Maybe. And,
right.
And she was halfway through the movie. They get together. She's like, "Well, is that it?" I was like, "No." Now she's gonna be introduced into his life. He's can't handle it, and I like you could predict kind of the beats, right? Drives my wife nuts when I do that. But it's still a great movie. Everyone should watch that movie, by the way. So we've talked about movies a little bit. I know you from video games. You were wearing a Nintendo 64 shirt. What got you into video games at this level?
The age-old question.
Yes.
So I grew up with them. It's that easy. Like I had 2 older brothers. They were always in the house. Games were around me all the time. Given I was in Norway in the middle of a forest, we didn't have, a big selection. Like I literally live next to a field. Yeah. Like it's, and so, but we had the PlayStation. I liked the Game Boy. The original Game Boy was probably my favorite console. Yeah. Back then, Tetris and Pokemon and Super Mario, et cetera, et cetera. Then I got a bit older, started playing with the PlayStation. Like Tekken 3 that was my jam. Tekken 3 and Spyro.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just continued playing it. I played it, through high school. It was very interesting because I talked about it a couple of days ago. Actually, I was at a Women in Esports panel.
Yeah,
we were talking about it too. Yeah, it's just funny because back then, thinking about it, there wasn't really, at least where I was, this kind of like girls don't play games, but guys do vibe. Like I was very fortunate that I didn't grow up in that. So we just played games. Yeah, in the forest, you just play whatever you have. You can't be picky. And so, I just grew up with it. There were a couple of years, late teenage years, where I'm like, I'm too cool for games. I'm going to, be an adult. Yeah. And then I got to college and my roommate had Xbox and Left 4 Dead, which to this day is probably one of my favorite games of all time, if not the favorite game. Yeah. And so, that continued. And then, after realizing I didn't want to be a news journalist, my boyfriend at the time, he was like, well, you like games. Write about them. Like, go look for an internship. And I'm like, oh, so that's a good idea. And so here I am, games are just a big part of my life.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. Do you have one of those games that when you look back at it, you get a little bit like teary-eyed? Because especially when you play with your brothers, like was there that one game that had that bonding experience, or were you just like killing each other to fight over the controller?
Well, I think it's like, that's kind of two things. So Spyro has always been a big deal. Mm-hmm. Like that's probably the game when I put on the remastered one now, like last year. That was like, I mean, I didn't cry, but like I felt it. Like the music, like I felt it in my body. Like this feels incredible. Kind of like seeing Detective Pikachu. Yeah. Like even though I wasn't like a big fan of the movie, just seeing the Pokemon that I grew up with was like, huh. And then there were like a bunch of others, which I did not know. Yeah, it was a little bit of feels. Bonding wise, I think the thing with like Tekken 3, I remember just because me and a bunch of my friends used to play it the day before Christmas for several years. So that was like not even too long ago, like probably like 10 years ago. That seems really long.
No. I think you're wrong because like the PlayStation 4 is like 8 years old.
I know, it's crazy, right? Scary, but I think that's like the first bonding. Like I was too young to remember back when I was. I don't really remember much, but I remember being like late teens, early 20s, and we would play Tekken 3 for like hours.
I have a very important question on Tekken 3. Who was your main on Tekken 3?
Yoshimitsu.
Oh yeah, Sword Gang.
Yeah, him or Eddie. That was basically just
Eddie.
Yeah, I mean it's probably Yoshimitsu. I'm very attracted to like yoga weird characters. Like Street Fighter was always Dalsim. Like Dalsim is my guy. Yeah. So when the new one came and I realized how tough he was, I was kind of sad because I was like, I'm not as good. I used to be really good at Street Fighter 2. Yeah. And then this Dalsim, that's a new Dalsim. He's a scary one. Yeah.
I was a Warang guy.
Oh really?
Yeah, even though he didn't have a counter, but because I did Taekwondo, and in the opening scene he does a pattern, I knew the pattern, so that was just so cool to see your own style like represented in a video game. That was the best.
I didn't even think. Maybe that's why I liked Eddie, because I wasn't a breakdancer, but no. I tried for probably like half a year and I gave up. Fun fact.
Didn't your friends were like, we're gonna ban Eddie because you're just button mashing?
We were all button mashing, so I think at that point we'd like.
At that point,
it's like I don't want to be that person, I think back then nobody cared. No. That's what I liked. I still miss just sitting two people on a couch and just split screen.
Yeah,
like it feels so good whenever that happens. It's such a good feeling. Yeah. Like now we're just sitting here talking, and sure, it's fun to play online, but I don't know. There's no toxicity.
No. No, it depends on how much age difference there is between you and your brothers. Because, like, man, I had to deal with two older brothers myself. It wasn't always fun. But,
I guess it can be bad. I don't know. I have nice brothers.
Yeah, that works. Mine are pretty nice. if they're not even listening, so they're not that nice. Screw you guys. So what was your first big break? Not big break, but like, okay, you decide I'm going to write about video games. That's kind of what I'm going to do. Do you remember your first like review or your code or your what was your first piece?
Oh my god! So I got an internship with Game Reactor. That's where I started, and I think like my first pieces were all news stories. So I mostly wrote news stories or translated because we got texts from like Sweden and Denmark, and I can speak those things, so I translated them to Norwegian.
Yeah. Just speaking 3 languages.
Yeah, 4, I guess, with 4. English.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. So I think my first film review was Hangover 3. And I think like I don't remember what it was, but like I don't know, it was like a weird one, and then. The game review, I don't remember the title of the game. It was like one of those with the player controllers and the book. They gave me like the easiest one. They gave me one where it's like, it doesn't matter if you can't do this well. It was kind of like, we're just going to test you out. And if you really bad at reviews,
Was with the camera?
But
The camera and the book?
Yes. Yeah. It was with the camera and the book and the controllers.
I don't remember the name either.
It was real delightful, though. Yeah, it was real fun.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was a whole thing, but I don't think the iCam or whatever they called it back then never really picked up.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting one. But yeah, they just gave it to me kind of like that. And then, I mean, I liked writing smaller reviews regardless of like smaller indie games or games where it's like, I don't know. I liked having the time to do more than one article a week.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't just play GTA and like rush as fast as I can and be like, oh my God. Yeah. I kind of like the fact that this game takes me 5-6 hours. Done. That's pretty good stuff. Yeah.
What was the one where you felt like, okay, now I am legit? Was it like a bigger title or was it just a bigger outlet? Like, what made you feel like, okay, now I am a games journalist, or I am?
I still don't feel that way. No. Honestly, I am my worst critic. I guess I still feel like I'm not enough. I haven't done the big thing yet. I don't know if I'll ever feel that way. No. So it's like it's a weird thing where. Yeah, I don't know. I may be too harsh on myself, but I've just never. It's everything is like everything I do is a blessing. I always like it's just I'm lucky to do anything.
Yeah,
and so it's also I think because like I'm kind of like when you evolve and you want to do different things, and that's kind of what I'm going through. Like I used to just want to write, but now as I've gotten older. I like podcasting. I like video stuff. I like talking. Yeah. And so the things that were victories back when I just wanted to write feel less like victories in a sense because this is what I'm passionate about right now. And I still have way to go to get to where I want in that sense. So it's kind of like, okay, if I want to host, I got to work on this. So whatever I wrote down, it's good, but it's not, I've made it in this sense, I guess. Yeah.
If you woke up tomorrow, you had like an audience of 300,000 people, what would you create if you could just sit down, because that's how you make your money, you don't have to worry about anything? What kind of show or what kind of piece of content would you make?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, like
I have 400,000 people now.
Well, I mean, first of all, the fact that I have a laptop right now is not helping me too much.
No.
But if I had like a good setup, I guess, and a good I don't know. Like, I would love to just have, like, I don't know, talk show sounds weird. But you get what I mean? Yeah. Just people talking.
Yeah.
I would love to be, like, a moderator of something like that. I would love to stream more. Again, I'm trying to figure out my laptop situation because my laptop was great. And then suddenly one day it was like, nah, you're not going to stream anymore.
No.
So I'd love to stream. But I think, and also, like, I don't know. Maybe I'd do something super nerdy, like a Magic the Gathering show or something.
That would be pretty
I'd be into that. Yeah, I'd be into that. I love like tabletop shows and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd host something. Maybe like a little. Yeah, panels are fun. Panels are not like a strict panel, but like let's sit at a couch panel.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you play online D&D?
D&D?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm very rusty though. I've barely played D&D because it's so hard. Because it's so hard to get people together.
Yeah.
Like it's like I have the book, I have everything. It's just finding the time as an adult and finding the people as an adult.
Well, do I have an opportunity for you?
Oh, I am intrigued.
I shall intrigue you further. After
Yay!
Because
love that.
I'm setting up something cool with some very cool people that you are very familiar with. So.
I am down. Yeah. I am probably terrible, but I'm down.
Oh yeah, but we're gonna keep it like a little low key, not like these huge commitments. Just like one night and then again and again. We'll talk. We'll talk. And listeners,
we'll talk.
Keep an eye. Yeah, this is happening after E3, hopefully pretty soon.
E3.
E3. We're gonna talk a little bit about E3 because that's where I met you the first time, like face
to
face. Yeah.
It was.
That went by so fast. Oh.
I know.
But okay, so. You do all this cool shit. You're talented. You study hard. You put in the work, and then you make the big move to the US. How did I moved from the Netherlands to Canada? It's a big leap. It was just me moving away, trying to make a life for myself. How did you deal with that? Because that is easier said than done. Because the more successful you are, the more you leave behind, right? When you make a move like that. How do you do that just as a person?
I mean, it's going to sound weird, but I wasn't too afraid.
No?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like something I've grown up doing and I love. And, my parents, they're always my biggest support. Like I call my mom every single day and we talk every single day. Yeah. And so that helps keeping you sane and feeling like I didn't lose everything. Because I mean, moving here, I lost a safe job. I lost a lot of friends, not lose, but like you lose touch, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I did sacrifice kind of everything to come here, money, time, everything. So hopefully I'll get the visa so I can stay here. Otherwise I am going home to nothing, which is horrifying, but it's nice to be on the edge and just, that's, it's like the forced motivation to work. Like I'm still motivated, but it's also like, oh my God, I have to do something.
Yeah.
So I guess just that's the kind of person I am. Maybe I didn't feel it was too scary. I mean, it would have probably been scarier if I went to a place where I didn't speak the language or I knew absolutely no one, because I knew some people coming here. And the first time I visited, I was on holiday with a friend. So I kind of established the groundwork. But I mean, I think in Norway, I was at a point where I wasn't going anywhere. And so career-wise, I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
The only thing I had to lose was a job that paid well. And that was but it wasn't a job I was passionate about.
Yeah.
So I felt I've learned what I can learn from this job. It's in a completely different industry than anything else. So it wasn't really my industry even. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this forever. Like I can't. Like this is going to make me feel very sad. And I've already, like I said earlier, like I've taken not advice, but I decided I'm not going to do any creative writing because it's not safe. And it's now like 8 years later, I'm starting to think that was a bad idea. I should, push through with that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of that thing I had back then of like, I'm not getting anywhere. I really don't really have a lot to lose. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to learn a bunch of stuff and then I'm going to work really hard. And I will not look back in 20 years and say, why did I not? You know? So it's horrifying. I've had my fair share of breakdowns and crying and saying, oh my God, I might lose everything again by having to leave America, which I hope it will not happen.
No.
I got to think like that because I've earned it. I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Oh, no. But, you go nuts. But you're the kind of woman that makes shit happen, right? You kind of need a break every now and then, I think. Just like visa-wise, paperwork-wise and all that kind of stuff. But I know you're going to make this work. But it is scary. Like I've been through the same situation where I went to Canada, bought a house, was 6 months away from getting married, I think. And then all of a sudden my visa was not renewed. They were like, you got 90 days to leave the country. And I was like, fuck, now what?
Dang.
So I lost my job overnight because you get a letter saying like you are not allowed to work anymore and you have 9 days to leave the country. So I had to call my boss at 8 o'clock at night saying I can't come to work tomorrow because they didn't renew my visa. And this was like a job where I'm like in the middle of projects. It was the worst time. Like I couldn't even come into, like I had to go bring my laptop. I couldn't hand over work. It was pretty bad. But because I am like you, like no, this is not gonna be the end of this. Found a loophole through like Germany where I got a work visa if I had a job offer. So I managed to get a job offer. Everything turned out okay. Got my permanent residency. But fuck, it's stressful. People don't understand how stressful immigration can be. And it is just like the easy way, from Europe to North America where you don't have to deal with a lot of stuff. Because even if it doesn't work, you can just go home and try again in most cases. But man, that is stressful. So I hope it works out for you, and I'm sure you're gonna make it work. After this podcast, you're gonna get like job offers and shit. Like, oh, here's I
hope so too. It's very stressful, and people think you can just wander into America, especially as a Norwegian person. They think you can just walk in, but it is a struggle. It's led to sleepless nights, and I don't know if I can get another shot. This is my Eminem moment. And so it is stressful and I just got to stay positive and know that I pride myself on being the hardest working person in the room.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Whenever I'm in a room. So hopefully that will lead to something. And if it doesn't, it's just the universe who said it wasn't my time, but it's not gonna, because I can't. No. I got my laptops here. I can't bring them home. No, they're here.
Come to Canada. Come to Canada first. We'll hang out. And no, we'll make it work. because you're freelancing now. But there's something else I want to talk about first, because you were recently on stage as a speaker in esports.
Yes.
And we've talked about esports before, because I know that is a thing you're interested in and that you're exploring right now. How do you get to be a speaker on an esports platform?
Well, so I've done work with them before. Mm-hmm. I did a couple of shows, including one called Game Talk Live, where we talked about Overwatch League. So we talked about esports in the past.
I saw that episode, yeah.
So
that's no longer today, Game Talk Live.
Yeah, unfortunately, no.
Ooh.
But so I did a couple episodes for them where we talked about that, Overwatch League and whatnot. And so they wanted me to come up and just have a talk, which I was just very blessed and grateful. And I felt, I was just in awe of all these incredible people I was around. It makes you feel, small and humble. I felt very humbled. I was like, wow, these people are so talented. And they've done these incredible things. I can't believe that I'm in this room. This shouldn't happen. Yeah. So I was just very grateful and, nice to have the opportunity to, talk and be heard. And, women in gaming is a very complicated topic.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, but it is. And there are different ways of looking at it, and there are different ways of, discussing it. And, I could probably talk about it for hours and hours because...
Go ahead. We have time.
Well, I mean, it's, the basis of it, everybody knows. There is sexism. There is a lot of problems. Women aren't getting hired, and there is a lot of toxicity.
Yeah.
That's the reason I don't play a lot of online games, because games are supposed to be fun. I don't want to be called a whore.
No.
Like, it's that easy. It's just like, you know what? I'm a grown person. I don't have time for that. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Get out of it. When I was in my early 20s and I played Call of Duty, I would just yell back and be all, But now I'm like, okay, unless I have to, I don't really want to. And, that's a problem. It's a problem that instead of, discussing how men can help men be better men, we are telling women to be stronger.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, that's the thing that I, am very passionate about, I have so many incredible male allies, I guess is the word for that, who are just the best people. Yeah. And it's, it's very funny to me how most of the great, strangers that I've met online that are men are like 14, 15-year-olds.
Okay.
And the toxic men are like my age.
Yeah.
Or older. And that is like crazy.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's kind of the whole thing about like the Star Wars fandom that's become so toxic.
Yeah.
They're not kids, We think that they're all kids, but they are not. And that's the thing that's crazy about the whole thing.
The 37-year-old white dudes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's a fact. So it's, I'm hoping that things will change, and I'm hoping conversations will, like I said on the panel, I hope that those panels don't have to exist ever again. Like, I hope that we don't need women in gaming or girls in gaming. I hope that that's just something that happens, and like panels will naturally be diverse and fun and just different voices, instead of women feeling like we need this to express ourselves in a safe environment. Like, that's very sad that's how we've sort of ended up.
Yeah. And,
the fact that we're such a young industry, there's so much hope, and we're doing so good that we're already having this. I mean, look at the film industry and the music industry. They've been around for decades, and they're still just so slowly. Well, at least in games, things are happening. And I mean, as a journalist, it's weird because the title journalist has changed so much since once I started.
Yeah.
When I started, it was you're a writer or a host or, whatever. Now, under journalists, you could have like a caster or commentator. Like, there's a lot of different. And when you look at that, there is a gender disparity. Like, if you look at, there's so many incredible female journalists, and we see a lot of them. We see a lot of them, in the big places, IGN and, GameSpot and Polygon. There are a lot of really good females. But if you look at the journalist in like the picture that a lot of industry professionals are painting now, there aren't many, because if you look at casters, there aren't a lot of women.
Yeah.
If you look at commentators and analysts, like, they exist, but there's not as many. So it's the weird place where, like, at one point we were doing real great because the journalist was just this tiny little box.
Yeah.
And then we expanded and realized, we're not really, getting far ahead. So it was a very interesting talk to have, and I think it's important. And I also think, the thing that I try to tell people is when you have you say women in gaming, but women in gaming means more than just actual women, like people who are treated that way are, non-binary people of color, LGBTQ people, like those still go under the kind of umbrella of that what we call women in gaming, which is minorities, right? Yeah. And, I want to, as a woman of color, I also want to say, we need more women of color in the gaming space, because whilst we're getting women, there's not enough women of color. And that's a completely different perspective that, I want to learn more about. Like that's the weird thing, it's like we just want one narrow-sided perspective. And that makes me kind of sad, because there are games where, if you talk about just a single game and, whatever it's about, if it's somebody that I can't identify with, I would love to know how somebody who can views it. It's like, it makes me sad that people aren't interested in that. And they just want kind of the same person and perspective all the time. Yeah. But I guess that's, different strokes.
Do you think we're in the right path, though?
Yes, I do. I think it's so easy to look at the toxicity and think there's no way out of it. And, to be fair, to be honest, I too have felt like, I'm exploring the field. I would love to get into field, but there are moments where I truthfully say, this isn't worth it. Yeah. Because I know the amount of unnecessary toxicity that can come from the esports community. Like the video game community is getting slowly but surely better, but esports is very stagnant and it's very male dominated, and it's very scary in that sense. For women, we see how, pro players and casters, journalists, how they're being treated. And it's like, you don't like, it makes me sad because, there are a lot of people who are doing outreach to high schools and stuff for, that's where you got to start to get pro players these days. You have to start very young. And, I can't imagine going to school and telling girls you should join and then also saying, this is what happened though. Like you're going to be, people might think like with Gaguri, like you're cheating and you have to go through a whole thing proving you're not cheating because you're good, because you're a woman. Yeah. All the kind of comments on, if you wear too much makeup, you probably don't know anything about games, or, you just got that job because of how you look. But if you wear too little, then people are going to judge you based on how you look. There's like so many layers and so many, like, it's all luck, right? Like I was very fortunate to start a Game Reactor because I didn't feel any sexism. Everything was great. I didn't realize, I was very naive thinking, what is the problem? Yeah. But then as I got older and started working other places and meeting people outside of the industry, when I went to E3, amongst other things, like there were things I realized then talking to other people in the industry where I'm like, oh, there it is. Yeah. I see it now. And that's super unfortunate. And so, it's weird that it's a sensitive topic, or like you feel kind of weird talking about it. You're kind of afraid that people will take it wrong. And when the basis of it is not really scary, it's not about taking away somebody's jobs or, doing anything of that. It's like, we're going to create more jobs and try and get more views and perspectives and things in it. It's, I don't know. People like The Force Awakens and it had a pretty diverse writing room. So, yeah, I don't know. Like that's the fact, it's crazy how people don't realize that, it's not a bad thing. No. It's a great thing.
Yeah. You touched on an interesting subject for me, like that when you get, the more you're involved you get, the more you see it in a way. And that's what I hate about myself. That every time I hear a story, my first reaction, I can't believe that. Like, I can't believe someone is that blatantly an asshole to women in gaming or in general. Like, it doesn't matter where you work. But it happens again and again and again. What do you think is going to be the silver bullet, if there is such a thing, to really tackle this problem?
Oh, do you mean like the one thing that will destroy it?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's hard because that's the thing. Like, as a woman, we've, like, at least my generation, like, I don't know about people born like the late 90s. They have a completely different, like, it's crazy that people are born in the late 90s, 2000s have like a completely different world than me. And like people who are 10 years or even 20 years older than me, we still have the same world. Yeah. But, you grow up with this kind of ingrained sense of not just kind of like accepting the patriarchy or the status quo, but also a sense of misogyny in a way, because it's like you learn to accept things that shouldn't be acceptable. And that's why Me Too and stuff is really good, right? Like back when you were younger, you know, at least for where I'm from and like learning from what my friends have gone through and what I've gone through, like say if someone like touched your butt, you're supposed to be like, he was an asshole, I'm just going to move forward, right? That's the kind of mentality you're growing up with. Just brush it away. If your boss says something sexist to you, brush it away. You got to just keep on smiling. You know, they love those smiles. You got to, you know, you got to be pretty, but not too pretty. You got to dress this way, but not too much this way, and etc. So it's a lot of that. But also, you know, it's the sense of there's only room for so many women. And that's something I think is a problem now, too, is the feeling of like women are constantly put in competition with each other. In a way that maybe not a lot of people understand. It's the same with like when Captain Marvel came out and we were all like, who's better? You know, Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel?
I remember that.
We can have both. We can have both. We never said Iron Man versus Superman. That was never a big debate because it's like we are used to different strong males existing in the same universe in a way. And so, and that's something that happens to women in other, you know, areas of work, if not every area, where it's constantly competition against each other instead of creating jobs for all of us and feeling, you know, it's kind of the sense of like the tokenism of like, okay, we're going to have a panel. Like this didn't happen where I went. Like Inman did a great job with the panel. It's not anything with them, but you know, you see other panels or conferences or whatever where you have like one chick and then they're all guys, and you can't help but wonder, what would have happened if it was all chicks and one guy? Would that have like changed everything? Would that not have been watchable? We have all these things that are ingrained in us, and I didn't even realize them for a long time because it was so ingrained in me because I grew up around men, and like there's nothing wrong with them, but that's how they were taught too. So we were all just taught in this little mindset that keeps going, and now we are starting to break out of it and realize, you know, maybe that's not healthy. And it's so nice to see that it's not just women, but also a lot of men who are realizing that. But, you know, we still got a way to go. But I think just having the conversations and like, here's the thing, like this can be solved by men. Like it sucks to say it, but it's like without men helping, supporting, hiring, listening, then we can't do anything because in a lot of, this is beyond video games, but in a lot of industries, we are not in charge. And so we can't really change anything, right? We can't, you know, we can break things down. We can put a man like Harvey Weinstein in jail where he belongs. But there's still going to be couches unless men decide there shouldn't be couches. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that I think in every kind of job pretty much needs to change. And women can only do so much sometimes. It needs to be a thing that everybody comes together doing. And I also think women too, like a lot of women, myself back in the day, you know, we have this idea in our head too, because we grow up with it, you know, like, for instance, a man who is, you know, bossy is good, but a woman who is a bitch. You know what I mean? Like those stereotypes are so ingrained in us because of media and because of how we have been portrayed in every kind of cultural thing for so long that it's so hard to break out of it. But, you know, I think, we need allies and we need to listen and support and learn. And, you know, I think that's what we all hoped would happen with social media. It's kind of taken a weird turn. Where it's name calling and yelling. Oh, don't even. I can't believe it. It's like, it's a lot of stuff. But I mean, I'm a very hopeful person. So I know that there are good people out there and, you know, you can't do anything else but to hope.
Sorry, I went super fuzzy all of a sudden, so that's why I'm trying to boop your nose there. But like, here's what I always find: it takes people like yourself to stand up and like try to be either the positive influence or because you speak about this so well. But speaking up about this is a choice that is not often rewarded. Often it's the opposite of that, because all of a sudden you're this lightning rod of all this garbage. What made you, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway, like what made you put your, you know, your what's the word, your head above the grass, or what made you feel that, no, I am going to be the one standing up and I am going to be the one talking about this in public?
How do you know the answer and I don't?
Well, because I think you're a good person that just does the right thing despite the backlash that you might get.
I just want people to get along. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted people to be kind. I guess I've always been the person who I want to be friends with everybody. I want everybody to be friends. And I know that's a very like hippy dippy thing to say, but I'm a hippy dippy. So, you know, I'm sitting here with a crystal in front of me just because it's fun. But all the energies. Oh, yeah. But no, I think it's, you know, for a long time I was too angry and I felt like yelling and screaming and sometimes I still do. Yeah. But I also, in a weird way, understand where some people come from. Like, it's not like I've never, obviously I'm half black. So if I was racist in the past, that would have been really weird. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I grew up around a lot of people that didn't understand that, for example, like a lot of, you know, what we see these days of, you know, like I hate immigrants, but my neighbor's cool. That kind of mentality. I grew up with a lot of that. And, you know, I like every other person, I had a lot of weird stereotypes in my head, prejudices that I have, you know, come to terms with and faced and changed and realized, you know, by traveling. Honestly, that's how I've realized all of those. And so I guess even though I was never on a bad side of a spectrum when it comes to not being understanding or whatever, I feel like I've always been very kind. I also understand that yelling doesn't help. Yeah. And even though sometimes I'm so tempted to just say, you're wrong, you're hurtful, you're damaging. Yeah. But I know that also in these times, we need people to listen and learn and be open. And it's so hard to be it because there's so much pain and anger. And I mean, I too feel it, like, obviously, like whenever I hear people talk badly about things that, you know, impact me or are part of my identity, you know, it makes you scared. It makes you nervous. Like, even like me, like talking about women in gaming, like there was a part of me who felt like I'm going to get some crap. Like somebody's going to send me something really hurtful. But, you know, I also like, I guess also I've kind of shook off the thing of like, I'm talking on behalf of everybody, which is the problem too, you know, like there's this thing in writer's room in a lot of television shows where they have to like hire one person. That's a person of color, for example. And then, you know, they have a character in the show that's person of color and they're like, so what do you think? And they turn to the one person in the room. And like, that's unfair too. And so, you know, I don't consider myself a person that speaks on behalf of people or whatever. I just think like I've learned from a lot of people who've been honest and just very transparent about who they are and their journeys. And like being able to face your own whatever they may be. I feel like it's also kind of not my duty, but it will make me a better person and hopefully it will impact others too, to just be transparent about like, you know, this is what I feel. And this is what, you know, hurts me, especially in this day and age where people always have to be strong and smile and be happy. And, you know, this kind of mentality that I learned, especially in LA. Yeah. There's a lot of, you know, you have to be like a Tony Robinson. I get up at 4 a.m. and exercise and I'm always happy. And, you know, I work 5 jobs and I'm like, okay, let's calm down. First of all, I'd love to have 5 jobs, but like, let's calm down. Yeah. But, I don't know. I guess, you know, it makes me feel good to talk. And I know that I don't have a massive audience of hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. But I mean, if I can make one person feel better about themselves, you know, just like I wanted when I was younger, but you know, I didn't have social media. I didn't have that kind of connection. I had MySpace, but like, you know, you know, that would make me happy. And I hope to make other people happy too, because it makes me, it makes me feel just as well. Like it might just be like very selfish of me, but
it's a good kind of selfish, I guess.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, I think you're a wonderful person because I see you like take on the big things like the, you know, being on a panel at esports, but I also see how you try to make things better at like almost micro level when I see in the community trying to organize stuff, trying to be a soundboard or a shoulder or just a listening ear to some people online that you might not even know really well. And just be there. Because I remember a long time ago we had a conversation about someone who was talking often about self-harm online. And I remember, like, I think I'm going to have this conversation with Sofia because we kind of knew that same person. And I just noticed how much you cared about these people in your own little community. And I think that's what makes you a wonderful person to start with. But, like, I would see you as, like, a role model for a lot of people, for girls, women, men, whoever needs to look up to you to get where they are. But who were some of the people that influenced you into becoming who you are? Like, maybe not in this industry specifically, but if you have examples, that'd be great as well. But, like, who are the people that have been mentors or guidances for you?
Oh my God. Also, I don't think I'd be a good role model. I haven't shown it here, but I curse a lot.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
I curse a lot, and I drink Coke from these kinds of size of bottles. So, you know. Role models.
Yeah, I don't really like the word role models, but more like who have been your compasses in?
It's a weird thing for me because, like, you know, different. I had different people I looked up to in different parts of my life that now I might not have. Like, my favorite artist when I grew up was Marilyn Manson, and he was, you know, the everything because of his lyrics and whatever. But then now that I'm older, I'm like, I'm not, like, I love his music, but he's not a role model because he does drugs and is kind of not great. Yeah. But, you know, also he was terrible live the last time I saw him. Sorry. I don't know. Like, my mom is a good role model because she supports me and she's just the loveliest woman.
Yeah.
Just like, just emotionally, like, the best person. Also, like, my friends. I'm so lucky that I have a group of friends who are incredibly talented to the point where sometimes I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm just sitting here next to these giants who are just good at every single thing they do. And it's so inspiring and humbling and everything. So, you know, they inspire me, even though they might not know it. Just, I love seeing people around me do great things. And even just, you know, it's people, like, sometimes it's just like random people I meet just inspire, you know, like, just, you know, seeing somebody online who went through a hard time and got out on the other end, like that, even that in itself is something that I, you know, take to heart. And I'm like, that's, and, you know, I have, like, bigger role models, you know, like, people, I don't know. There are writers I like, there are directors I like, but it's, I don't know. The word role model is weird because I never, because, like, I never, I don't know why I keep saying Tony Robinson, but I never had one of those. I had a yoga teacher once, actually, who was pretty great because she kind of knew, I haven't talked to her in years, but she knew where I was going because I'm still here. Yeah. Like, she knew when I was younger that, you know, I needed to get some empowerment going. She gave me this necklace, which has all these crystals and stuff. And they're like, I guess she was one of those back. I keep thinking about it from time to time, just of her saying, like, you know, you need to not love yourself more, but, like, feel your power more. Yeah. Which is hard to do, especially, I think, these days when the world feels like it's tumbling down on all of us and just swallowing us whole and there's no return. Yeah. But I had that, and I think just my friends and Oprah Winfrey. I like Oprah Winfrey, man. I watched her when I was younger. I didn't realize that by watching her, I was just like, and also, like, she's also one of those people who's gone through a transformation in front of our very eyes. And I super appreciate when people do that. Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah, there are just so many. I don't know. I can't. I don't have, like. That's good. I don't have the list.
No, that's fine. You don't need.
I don't want Oprah to be my. I don't know. I take it back. I don't know. I got confused. Oprah was a big deal
in Holland, probably in Europe, like 4:00 when you get home from school. Like, Oprah was on TV all the time.
Same. Yeah. Maybe that's a European thing, because, like, she was the only thing I could. It was either Oprah or Days of Our Lives. And, like, sometimes I'm not into Days of Our Lives. Yeah. So, but I mean, role models. I mean, it's sad because, like, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I'd say J.K. Rowling, but now I'm not too big of a fan of hers because she queer baits, and it's just not.
You're just retconning your own role models.
Just write a new book and be diverse. Then don't backtrack. It's fine that all your characters are just straight white people. That's fine. Just don't do this that you're doing right now. That's the thing I don't like. That's the thing I don't like about movies is when they do that. Like when I think it was Solo that came out, and one of the writers was asked if Lando was pansexual, and he was kind of like, sure. And I'm like, no, just say we don't know. It's that easy. Just we don't know. We don't. He was like, yeah, sure, why not? Kids love that. I'm hip. Yeah, he is. Don't do it.
Don't get me started on that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So,
I mean, I wish that would have been great, but write him like that instead.
Well, why not? That would be the movie on its own. He'll get his own movie. They're making 1,000 of these movies. So we kind of talked about your path to where you are now. Do you still have, or have you had recent moments where you really feel like, wow, I can't believe that everything I've accomplished? Do you look back and say like, oh, wow, I can't believe this is my life?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Like every single day I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. Mm-hmm. Like waking up and going to a panel, waking up and getting to write stuff, or getting up and going to edit videos all day, which I never thought I would be able to do. And the fact that I can do that professionally is incredible to me. Yeah. Getting to do all those things, getting to do this podcast with you, getting to meet all these people and live in LA and be so close to, finalizing my dream of getting a visa and getting a puppy.
A puppy.
The moment they tell me I can stay in America for more than a year, I'm getting a puppy, going to a shelter right away. That, but also I guess, as I said earlier, I'm kind of self-critical. So sometimes I guess I undervalue my work a little. And so I don't, see it as achievements. It's kind of like not too long ago, I did a writing test thing kind of for a very big game company. I'm not going to say who, but that was a dream come true because somebody asked me to write fiction for them and they liked it. Yeah. It didn't work out in the end, but there was a moment where I thought, oh my God, I did it. Yeah. And then obviously when it didn't work out, I thought,
destruction.
It was nothing. But then, I reminded myself that, I spent a week playing through a 100-hour game over again and reading books and studying way too hard for something that literally they didn't ask me to study. They asked me to just write something. And I was like, I got to know all the source material. So I'm going to do everything. And I had papers and probably went a bit overboard. But I think those kinds of things, you gotta. I'm still learning to consider everything I do good. Like a. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I did that. I think it's hard because with social media, you can't not compare yourself to anybody else.
No, it is.
So the moment I do something. Like the moment I do something cool, then 2 minutes later I look online and I'm like, oh, that person did something that's beyond what I did. Yeah. And so it's so easy to just think, well, then I didn't do anything. Yeah. And I think, I feel that now, I didn't feel it back when I first started writing because social media wasn't as big, I guess. So I was like, oh my God, I wrote hundreds of articles for this company. That's incredible. Yeah. But hundreds seem so little now because I see people who've written 1,000, it's, I don't know. I try to take social media breaks now and then because it's so easy to just look at yourself and think you didn't do anything when, it's hard. So I guess yes or no is my very short, sweet answer to that overly complicated overly emotional answer of me going through a roller coaster of all the things that's been happening lately. And I don't know, I guess
I always enjoyed when people during their conversations start realizing how much they've accomplished and how far they've gone. So that's always
it's crazy. I'm experiencing it right now, but I'm also part of me is just super critical and saying you haven't done shit.
That's just your brain being an asshole.
It loves being an asshole. It does it all the time. Oh my God. The moment I get 3 kills in Overwatch, it's like 3. That should have been a 4K. Come on, girl. That was not good enough.
Wow.
Yeah, you got those 3, but
your brain's a dick. What is the one thing you're most proud of?
Oh no.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be like a piece. It can be anything. Doesn't have to be work related. Just in general.
I don't.
Just do. Just don't be shy. Don't be modest here. Brag a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, it's there's so many small things that I'm proud of. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't have like that one thing. Like if you'd ask, like it's weird because
top 3. You gotta have top 3.
Well, they're big for me. Mm-hmm. Nobody else would probably care. Yeah. A lot of them are creative writing related, which is weird because, that's not really what I do. But I wrote a book, between 13 and 18. I never published it, but I got a letter back saying they liked it. Okay. But then they were like, you got to rewrite it because you're literally 18. You have no idea what you're doing. But the idea is there. Yeah. And I was like, they don't understand my heart. Like, it was so emo. Yeah. It was terrible. But, so that, I guess, is something that, not everybody's. It took me a long time and all my, effort into it. I guess coming here is a big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I know. The thing is, I don't know why. I feel like it's a nothing, and I need to realize that Yeah,
it's more than a plane ticket, right?
I think it's just because I'm comfortable traveling, and so it's hard for me to. And since I've lived in different countries and studied and just been away from home, I don't feel like it's a big deal. And so I underestimate, like people keep telling me and I'm just like, what are you talking about? This is fine. Yeah. I just spent all my money and time and lost all my friendships. It's nothing. All fine. It'll work out. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I guess because I'm self-critical that I feel like I still can't say that I did something great coming here. Even though I have. Here's the thing. It's funny with America versus Europe because Americans are really good at bragging about themselves or just making themselves seem tall. Yeah. If you go to Norway, the type of resumes are right here. If you hand it to someone in Norway, they'll be like, you are the most stuck up person I've ever met. Yeah. In Norway, you write, here's my name, here's my work, here is my studies. That's it. Yeah. There's no like picture or color or flavor text. It's just like school, work. And then you just hand it in. It's like literally a Word doc. Yeah. I came here and they were like, what is this? It's so boring. Like
cover letters and like I had
you have to be colorful. You got to make a brand about yourself. And so I guess I'm still getting into the idea of bragging and feeling proud about stuff because it's in Norway it's very hard to be proud about things without being taken as an asshole. Yeah. Without being taken as someone who thinks most of themselves. So if I sat and did this to a random Norwegian person, they might think that I'm very stuck up or that I have way too much confidence, even though obviously I am just not as confident as people think I am. It's just like the talk and then, but I don't know. I think that's a Norwegian thing I have to shake off. And I don't know, European thing.
Yeah. When I had the Rami Ismail on the show, like we're both Dutch and we have this expression in Dutch that's basically like, just be normal. That's crazy enough. And that's such a mentality. Like, don't stand out. Don't don't have people pay attention to you. I guess in Norway it's kind of the same. Like, just
you can't brag about yourself. Yeah, exactly. You got to blend in. Yeah. Don't be too like cocky. There means something different. Like here, it means I am the king of the world and everybody else is trash. Yeah. In Norway, it's like me saying I'm a very successful person or like making my resume have things that I want to do instead of have done. Yeah. That's the thing you would never do. Like here you can write, on your resume, like say, for example, I am a TV host. Yeah. And you've done like a YouTube video. Yeah. But that's because you want to be it and you're projecting that to the universe. Like this is what I want to be. These types of jobs I want. Yeah. If you'd written that in Norway and you just done YouTube video, they'd be like, are you crazy? You've done this. This is ridiculous. Yeah. You're never getting any jobs. Yeah. And that's the big difference. Like here you can kind of make your own self and make your title and make, your person. Whilst I think in Europe, especially in Norway though, you can't do that. Whatever you've done as work, that's who you are. Mm-hmm. And you can't color whatever that is, which is something that made me feel like I had nothing to do in Norway, right? Because there were no opportunities. There was nothing for me to do. But I knew if I came here, I could, revamp and, move that bus and just paint everything differently.
So in US, just could say, I wrote a book. Like, you're not even going to mention it. You got a letter back that you were 13 to 18. No, you wrote a book. That's all that people need to hear in the U.S. But that's great.
It was trash, but
And then, see, now there you go again. with your Norwegian humble.
No, but like, it was honestly trash. It was just the most emo. I was just the most emo teenager, and you just It was so sad and dark. Oh my God.
There's nothing more cringeworthy than reading something that you wrote when you were a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, I had things that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Still, I had a poem published. This newspaper made a book, and I was published. So I am a published poet.
There you
which
go.
Sounds weird. See, I could say that in America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if I say that in Norway, they're like, "Girl, you had one poem in some dumb book."
Yeah.
And my pseudonym was a Evanescence song.
Ooh, which one?
Yeah, Lacrimosa is so bad. So, but hey, it was like I had my poems that were like actually like nice and emotional, and I kind of liked them. And then I have some where I'm like, oh my God, you had a bad day.
Yeah.
Just everything sucks. The world is ending. I mean, they would be appropriate now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
given the circumstances. Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, like you're crying mascara tears in like a dark forest. I'll be like, yeah, I'd actually do that. It will happen.
Yeah.
But it was so angsty.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's good story. I kind of like that. It's an interesting topic to.
That's nothing to do with video games, though.
Doesn't matter. I moved away from this being specifically a video game podcast. It's more of a people podcast, and that's why I like having people like you on, because you're so awesome and interesting to listen to.
It's way too much, but thank you.
No. It's the end of the show. That is where you get all the praise, and what a great guest you are. Is there anything you want to... Like I always kind of end on like a promotional tour for yourself. Is there anything you want to highlight? Anything you want to shout out or shit for?
That's so hard. There are a lot of things I can't talk about right now. Ooh. But I would like to say, first of all, thank you for listening. It is always... I can't believe people just... It's just very... I don't know. I'm very blessed to have friends like you invite me to do these kinds of things. It's... it's very humbling, and I always love talking. I was going to say I love talking video games, and we did that, but we also talked about a bunch of other crap. But
that's the good stuff.
It's fun. Yeah, no, it's fun. I appreciate the platform. I'm on Twitter at it's Sofia H. Sophia with an F. The PH is like a R-rated account, so please don't do PH. It's Sophia H with an F, please. Yeah. SofiaHariz.com is my website where my random examples of things are. And, I'm always looking to meet new people and do cool things. And, I like video games. I like movies. I like creative writing, obviously. Script writing is probably better. I shouldn't just say creative. If you asked me to write a poem now, it would be disastrous. Yeah, I'm no Shakespeare anymore. The teen angst left, and so did my poetry.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And I edit, I do video editing a lot now, which I love. It's so much fun. I photograph, and if I should do this Norwegian way, I work in commercial real estate. That's what I know. That's what I've done. That's my rise to fame. So if you need someone to help market your commercial real estate, hit me up, because I got the experience.
You should.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I was good at my job. I knew what I was talking about back then, but now I think the most I know about real estate is The Sims.
There you go.
Oh, I want to plug something. The Sims Medieval is an actual thing everybody should play.
There we go.
It's not an expansion.
No.
The Sims Medieval is its own thing, and it's incredible. And EA did a terrible job.
I have never heard of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so good. You're literally building. You can so you have a character, right? And you have a little castle, and you're like the king or whatever. And then you build here's a hospital, and I build the interior of the hospital and the person going in the hospital, and you build this little village, and it's so good. Yeah. It's what The Sims should be, and it exists, and it's great. Also, Jungle Fever is a really good expansion pack. I just wanted to put that out there. I bought it yesterday. The kitchen counters are spot on. Oh, yeah. It's so. Why am I talking about this?
hey, man! I said promote whatever you want. You can go.
I want to promote. Well, yeah. I guess I've promoted myself. What else should I promote? Yeah. I am promoting diversity. It is Pride Month. I encourage people out there who call themselves allies to, as I do more than just say Happy Pride and wear a fancy T-shirt and go party. We have to remember that we got to help our fellow humans have a nice life. It sounds weird, but that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Stonewall 50th anniversary. Look it up. I want to tell, I don't know, women out there to, keep supporting each other, keep supporting women of color in most industries because they are often not listened to. And what else do I want to promote? I'm going to say world peace half ironically.
Yeah.
Because I'm exhausted, y'all. I'm exhausted. I just want
puppies from a shelter.
Adopt puppies from shelters. Protect trans kids. Be kind. Kindness is the best thing you can do to anyone, including yourself. We all have to learn it. I have to learn it because we're all judging each other and ourselves. And don't look at your phone when you wake up. The first thing. Do what I do, which is snooze your phone, turn around and sleep some more. Yeah. And then you look at your phone because it's impossible. I don't understand how those people do. Yeah. They're like, I don't touch my phone for 3 hours. And I'm like, you liar.
You liar.
We're all addicted. Yeah. We can't help it. We have to check Twitter. I mean, I do.
I do.
So yeah, that's on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad was that promotional segment there?
I would say it was fantastic, but definitely the longest one I've had so far.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, you're worse than closing out a show than I am. It's great.
Oh no.
No, I appreciate it. No, don't. I enjoyed every single word of it. Like,
thank you.
You pretty much covered everything there. So, and I liked it. I'm not even gonna outdo you on that one. I am just gonna say that I am the hashtagonist. This is the Hashcast, and every week I have amazing guests like Sofia, and it is my pleasure to talk to you. And it's my pleasure that you're still listening to us rambling at the end of the show.
And I want people to follow me and talk to me. Yes. I want to meet more people and learn their stories.
You should.
I didn't say that, but I hope people...
Sophia is a blessing on your timeline, so make sure you hit that follow button. And Sophia, I hope I get to see you next week on the outskirts of the conference center. We should definitely make some time for each other to just hang out for a little bit.
I'll just watch from afar with binoculars. Yeah. I'll be like, I wish.
Yeah, no, I'm great. Man, I've looked at my schedule, and the evenings are almost busier than the days, because then I'm just in one place. Anyway, E3 is happening next week. So thank you again I know this was relatively last minute for you, but I really appreciate your presence, and I cannot wait to see you again. And again, like I said, we cannot close out the show, but we're going to stop the recording button now. Otherwise, we're going to be here for all night. So everybody, thank you for listening, and see you next week.
Bye.